This 6'5" max weight James Harden build can not only get a 99 3-pointer, which means all shooting badges on legend, so you can shoot from anywhere on the court, but this height is the tallest height that you can get both a 99 3 and 99 perimeter D. Huh? You combine that with insane contact dunks and the best dribble moves available, and you have an unstoppable two-way build. Steals in a lane, grabbing some boards, throwing some fancy passes, and because this is off-season James Harden, we can use that wide frame and big bunda to push people out of the way, as well as getting real bumpy. I have two versions of this build, a prime James Harden replica and my max weight off-season version. So please drop a like on this video and let's get straight into the build. Now, trolling aside, here is that genuine James Harden replica I mentioned in the intro, because I know there's going to be people saying Harden doesn't have 99 3-pointer, or Harden can't play defense like that, or Harden has much higher pass accuracy, blah, blah, blah. This one can get all of his dribbling animations and his layup style, and it can be made a PG and shooting guard. It even has his shades of in the top left, so if you're wanting to look and play just like James Harden, then that is the build for you. But my thick version of Harden is a little bit different. I'll explain in a second, but we have to go small forward. Harden is 6'5", so we're going to go with that. And to be able to unlock a 98 or 99 3-pointer, we need to go minimum wingspan, so 6'5" as well. And now the fun part. Look what happens when I increase the weight to 246, 247. Perimeter starts going up until it maxes out at 99, which is hilarious to me. Unfortunately, if you go point guard or shooting guard though, you can't get this higher weight or perim. Hence me saying you have to go small forward. And if you're at that 246, 247, you might as well max it to 250. Look at the body types it unlocks, and now you understand why I chose off-season demanding a trade James Harden, where it looked like he had a fat suit on. Now, small note, this does ruin the icons in a squad lineup, so keep that in mind, especially if you play fives. And now for the stats, let's start with shooting. This one is nice and easy. If you don't have or want shooting build specialization, then go 94 3-pointer, and then you'll have the ability to hit 99 3-pointer with 5 cap breakers, which of course means all legend shooting badges, except for mini marksman, because we're too tall. Now, if you do have or you do want to complete your shooting build specialization for this build, then I have two options for you. Firstly, I recommend going only 93 3-pointer, and with 5 caps, you'll be able to get 98, which means set shot will be on legend, and you'll still be able to make use of the build spec max +1 and max +2 perks, which you can only use on your shooting badges and slippery off ball. No other badges can be used, and at 99 3-pointer, it'll just be slippery left. So 93 3-pointer is a good option, as Limitless, Shifty, and Deadeye will only be on Hoff, so you can use 2 of the 3 of those into the max +1 or 2s, and then for your generic crew or level 40 max +1 or 2s, you put the third one on. Does that make sense? Another option is going 91 3-pointer and getting to 96 3-pointer with 5 caps, which means all the shooting badges, including set shot, will be on Hall of Fame, and you can still use the build spec max +1 and 2s on 2 of those badges. And if you do go this option, you can obviously raise your wingspan, or you can just choose playmaking or defensive build specialization. The choice is up to you, but either way, Harden is money. When I'm off ball, you know I have that no dip locked and loaded. Look how fast I'm able to get the shots off. And if they somehow get a contest, then that legend Deadeye comes in super handy. I live by the no dip mechanic, and I think it changes how shooting is done in 2K completely. And side note, let me know if you want a proper breakdown with, recommended jumpers for it, how to properly do it, when to do it, etc. Because I truly believe this mechanic gets me at least 6 to 9 more points per game, and that's across all my builds. Guards, wings, bigs. 93 3-pointer also sets my midi to 83 by default. And even though I do notice a dip in make rate compared to my 93, 95, 96 mid-range builds, midi fades weren't really touched in the fade patch the start of season 2, so you can shoot them like normal. And when I max +1 my shifty to legend, then I can hit at a fairly decent rate. 3-3-90 only because I play a lot of 5s. I get fouled a lot driving to rim, but if you don't play 5s, make this minimum and add it to something like O-ball to try and get it to like 70, or post control if you like doing the new post go-to shot mechanics. Interior defense if you feel like you need more, whatever you want basically. If something unlocks from you going minimum 3-throw, then go with that. Finishing, let's go to the finishing next. And in the intro, I said contact dunks. So along with a 75 vertical, we will go with an 83 driving dunk, and 1 singular cap breaker gets this to 87, which unlocks the pro contact dunks of 2. And at first I was skeptical, as I'm used to going like 93 or 96 driving dunk, but look at all these contact dunks I'm getting. Look how big the green bar is when I drive and use the meter, and even better, 87 driving and 75 vertical unlocks poster machine takeover, and look how big the meter is when I have takeover activated. To me, there is no difference between 87 driving dunk and 89 driving dunk, other than that terrible pro contact dunks off one package. It sucks anyway. So you don't get any out of the badges. You only get 1 or 2 more packages. And from now on, I will always go 87 driving dunk if I can't get to 93. 89 is not worth it. And I know it's a given, but yes, you can catch lobs on this build too. Had someone ask me this on another video, so I'm making sure I include it here. And even with this height, wingspan, and weight combination, you can eventually get this to 93 driving and 80 vert, but that's further down the line, like season 6, 7, 8, when you have a ton of extra cap breakers. 40 standing dunk, of course, for the 2-hand basic standing dunk package, and the standing cheese. A big reason why I like the 6.5s over the 6.4, 6.1s is for this dunk package, and it's always a good bailout if you get no board and you want to go straight back up with it, or if your teammate passes and it drags you to under the rim, you can just go straight up with it. A good place to put the stats if you lowered your 3-throw and or Prim D is into driving layup. 82 driving unlocks Harden's layup package, but because I'm looking for a dunk when I drive, I went with only a 70 for bronze physical finisher, and you get the float game as well. Again, with a 70, you can get some decent animations if you know how to time it right, or if you get taken out of the dunk and still want to commit to the shot anyway. So I kept it at a 70. Now, I usually recommend 73 close shot for bronze paint prodigy, and it usually comes as default when you go high midi on high midi builds, as midi brings up the close shot, but I'm leaving it at a 68 for this build. You can see that every now and then, if I don't get the standing or driving dunk, the 68 close shot is more than enough. It's not really my playstyle anyway, and I can't exactly lower it, but I'm just showing you what happens when you're under the rim. We are leaving post control at default, but you know, if you're up by 1,000,000 points and you know the guy defending you has no strength either, you can do fun things like this. I'm not sure if it's because my Harden is so large that I'm able to do this or not, but well, whatever. Playmaking. Now, we will rip the band-aid off, and with this version, I went with a more selfish 71 pass accuracy. I know that is a little low if I was mainly playing the 1 and be on ball most of the time, but I usually split it or lean towards more off ball with this build. So I'm more than happy with the 71. If you are looking to increase the pass accuracy to say something like 85, I would definitely lower, say, the Prim and get at least 85 for the bailout and the faster passes, etc. But as you can see, 71 is more than enough for me, and you can make some decent reads, pass the open man, even throw a few fancy passes over my head. Ball handle, I went with an 83, and I used 2 of my cap breakers here to get it to 85 for all the best dribble moves at this height. If you do like Harden's animations though, you can use a 3rd breaker here to get it to 86, and that unlocks all of his dribble anis, but I don't really like or use them that much, so I went with an 85. I'll show my animations at the end, but being able to get really shifty is really fun. I'm more of a herky-jerky, stop, start kind of dribbler, even though I can't really dribble and far from being sweaty. But, you know, things like the Lonzo cross, D-book, the T-Max size up, it allows me to do whatever I want, getting into space for a fade midi, blowing by for a dunk, drive and kick, whatever it is. And I think if you are at this height and you're either a 1, 2, or 3, there shouldn't be a reason not to go 85 ball handle unless, you know, so you're a pure lockdown or something. Moving on to speed with ball, went with 85, and I put another cap breaker here to get it to 86 for the gold lightning launch off rip. At times I do throw a max +2 on it because we all know how good the legend lightning launch is. Defense. Now, this is the most controversial section because I said in the intro, this 6'5 can get both 99.3 and 99 Prim if it wanted to, but James Harden hasn't really played much defense over his career, but this is a video game and 2K26 has people still making some crazy shots even after the patches, and we need all the Prim we can get. So I went with a 94 perimeter D, and with the max weight, you can, if you want, eventually get that 99 perimeter D with cap breakers, which is a wild concept to me. 99.3, 99 perimeter. I don't have enough cap breakers currently to get this to 99, but I have it set up to be able to next season. But right now I have a 96 perimeter D, and at starter 5, you get 3 more cap breakers, and I'll go straight onto here to get it to 99. And then with the level 40 caps for this season and next season, they'll go on to the agility to eventually get that to 86. But if you don't feel like you need the 99 or 98 3-pointer, then go ahead and put those caps on Prim first. I've been rotating a max +2 on Challenger and on ball to test them both on Legend, and I've been loving them. I don't expect to stop the super sweaty guards, but this build, as you can see, does get bumpy, and I don't even have that high of a strength. More of that in the moment, but people are going to shoot over you regardless, even with this high of perimeter D. My job with this build is just to make them try and miss as much as possible, try and get as high a contest as I can, or just force them to pick up the ball. Now, I wouldn't really recommend this build for the high levels of, 1v1, but I hopped in there to show you that the 94 all 96 perimeter D is kind of nice. If you know how to move and you got a little bit of stick, you can get some really nice cut-off animations and stops. And if you notice, there is a particular badge that isn't popping up when I play defense like this. But again, more on that in a moment. For steel, I went with a 73 for bronze glove and silver interceptor, which is more than enough, especially if you know how to position yourself in the lanes. And surprisingly, it does get a few on balls when you time it right. Again, another option for you, depending on your playstyle, is you can cap break this to 85 steel with only 4 caps if you feel like you need the gold interceptor and the silver glove, and then you could max +2 to legend interceptor. But for me, I'm happy with the 73 for now. I do feel a big difference between 73 steel and 60 steel like I have on my T-Mac animation wise, and I usually get the lane if I really go for them, but as you can see, 73 is a really good middle ground for most builds. I maxed the block to 62 because 2K Lab tested it and proved that the higher block you have, the better contest you get out on the perimeter. Even though we don't get any badges like high flying or paint patroller, we can still get in people's faces, still get a couple of blocks as you can see, and more often than not, get a way higher contest. I left interior as is, and if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I can't leave the O board. So for this, I went with a 70 O board for the bronze rebound and the silver box out beast. And yes, O board is cheaper on D board for this build. It is so damn cheap and much cheaper on smaller builds. So I always recommend getting just a little bit of rebound, at least 60, unless you're like 5'9". Physicals, I left physicals till last, but 85 speed for the gold slippery. I wish we could get this higher, and later in the 2K cycle, I'll probably done some future level 40 cap breakers here. I'd like to get it closer to 90 if I could, but for now, 85 is decent for me. 84 agility, as I said, with the hopes to eventually get it to 86. Next season. Now with the strength, I see so many debates on YouTube, Twitter regarding strength, and to me, if you are not a center, then high strength is useless. In my opinion, it's useless. Immovable Enforcer hardly pops up on the perimeter to get bumpy, if at all. As Bauer and others have shown you, it is only on-ball Menace that pops up every time you get a bump. So the people saying you need Legend of Immovable or you need Hall of Fame Immovable to guard the perimeter or you're gonna get cooked, that's wrong. Is it helpful? Yeah, a little. But is it essential? Definitely not. You need Perim D, speed, agility before you need the strength. Now, if I was taller and wanted a bit more interior on this build, I'd consider going higher strength, but this isn't what this build is known for. So, and on the offensive side, they have extremely nerfed the bully badge, bulldozer badge from a few years ago. Now they've mixed it around. They call it physical finisher. So high physical finisher is nowhere near as good as it once was, and you don't necessarily need it to be a good finisher around or above the rim. I have 10 builds personally, and only 3 of them have over 80 on strength. And with the other 7, they are either amazing dunkers and or layup builds. A few of them even have less than 60 strength. So I don't even have bronze physical on that. But with that being said, I went with a 73 strength on this build for 3 reasons. Number 1, bronze brick wall, so that I could eventually test gold brick wall with a max +2 for myself. I know as a guard, I really shouldn't be setting bulk screens, but because this is a fat James Harden, I thought I'd have some fun. Number 2, gold strong handle. Again, I'm not sure if this is 100% worth it, but it is only season 2. So if 2K decides to buff it, then I could at least get it to legend with a max +2 if I needed to. And number 3, immovable on bronze only. This is just in case I get switched to a bigger inside player or I have to defend inside of the 3-point line and inside the key. That's when immovable pops up. And again, I can max +2 to gold if I need to. And maybe when I play park where I have to switch a lot more, or even when I showed the ones from before, this may come in handy. Even if this build had legend immovable, I wouldn't stop people around the key half the time anyway due to my height and wingspan and my lack of interior D. But I know this build isn't built to do that. But there are times where it does help to cut off a dunk or a layup attempt or someone trying to back me down, turn around and post, you know, everything around the key. Now, if you feel that strength is entirely useless, then you can just make this minimum and put the extra stats on another attribute that suits more of your playstyle. And as we know, vertical is 75 for the 87 driving, but if you'd like, you can use some of the strength points, the perimeter D points, even the 3-pointer points to get driving dunk to 93 and your vert to 80. You actually only need 2 caps to get your vertical over 80. If you do want to aim for that 93 driving, 80 vert for the gold poster and the Russell Westbrook dunk package. But for me, as I said, 87 and 75 is more than enough for now. And here is the build, my overweight off-season James Harden build on 2K26. To recap my current cap breakers for this build: 5 to 3-pointer for 98 3-pointer, 1 to driving for 87 driving, 2 to ball handle for 85 ball handle, 1 to speed with ball for 86, and 2 to perimeter D for 96 perimeter D. My 3 starter 5 cap breakers and my 2 level 40 caps will go on to 99 perimeter and 86 agility, unless there is some major patch to defense in, season 3, season 4, in which case I'll just put them on speed. And here are my animations. Pro 2 dribble pull up, obviously the best one in the game, in my opinion. Hop jumper is James Harden, only to get some clips, but usually I use something like Klay Thompson or Devin Vassell or even Zach LaVine for that cool little animation going right. Zone default because it's only 70. I really like Jamal Murray's post go-to shot. I don't really use it, but I showed in a T-Mac video that it can be really cheeky, and it's only 30 post control needed, so I really like using that. Motion style Alex Caruso. I have been using DeMar DeRozan behind the back lately, but SGA is probably the best one that gets ripped the least off you, but the one for that big giant separation is Kobe Bryant. But be mindful that this one does get stolen a lot from, but with 85 ball handle you can get all of these, so you can have a pick at which one's your favorite. Step back Devin Booker, of course, but a lot of people go Vince Carter, which you can also get with this. And the best triple threat style is Kobe Bryant, of course. And for my dunk package, we'll start with the 2 foot. We have the baseline reverses of 2, really like that one. Windmill baseline reverses, clutch baseline reverses, flashy city dunks, and the pro contact dunks off 2. 1 foot, probably my favorite package ever. Baseline reverses off 1 for that dunk there. Switcheroos, of course. Standing dunks, like I said before. 2-hand under basket regular, that's all you need. This one is terrible. And then for signature dunks, I have been experimenting with Obi recently, but you can get James Harden dunk package if you want. I've tried that. I don't really mind that. LeBron's is obviously always good. And Devin Booker's not too bad either. And they even lowered the thresholds for it this year, which is pretty good. Alley-oops, Pro, Elite, Zion. Then there's some flashy ones for when I play Park. And then the Pro Contact alley-oops. And lastly, here is my jump shot. Matt Ryan base, Beluba, Julian Champagny with 90% Beluba, sort of 40% of the way to release. You could also go with the Ray Allen base if you like. A Quentin Grimes I also recommend. And of course, a Scottie Pippen. In terms of takeovers, I usually switch depending on my matchup. But if I match up against someone who has less defense or someone who is around my height or shorter, I'll go with Poster Machine so I can yam on their head. Usually a custom one where I'll just put the plus 15 or so onto driving dunk and just go straight Poster Machine. Otherwise, I'll go with something like Deep Bomber to shoot from anywhere on the court. And in that case, I'll do plus 15 to midi or something and then just go Deep Bomber take because my 3-pointer is already so high. Or lastly, I'll choose something like straight Speedster takeover when I know I have to chase around a sweaty guard or a wing and the extra speed, agility, and then when I get takeover, the stamina really helps with that. And that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed my non-meta, kind of odd but fun, fat 6'5" build, then hit that subscribe button as it really helps out the channel. Leave a comment on what type of build you want to see next. I'm thinking about showing either my KD or LeBron builds. I'm not sure, maybe the KD. We'll see. Click that video on screen to see my 6'8" Orlando teammate build. And as always, like and follow for more.